You are listening to Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. With me, Louise, the artistic director of Standby Method Acting Studio. And every week, I'll be talking with you and sharing how you can become a paid, working, unstoppable actor, because you 1000% can. An acting career is doable. Are you ready? Hello and welcome to another juicy episode of the Unstoppable Actors podcast. Thank you so much for being here. I absolutely love having you tune in to our episodes. It is my pleasure to talk to you about all things acting. If you are brand new to the Unstoppable Actors podcast, I'm so glad you've discovered us. Woohoo! Where did you discover us? Did you discover us on Spotify, our website, Audible, Amazon Music? Let me know. It would be really lovely to hear from you. And if you are new, let me very quickly introduce myself so you know who I am and feel assured that you're in good hands. So I'm Louise, and I've been coaching unknown actors for almost 13 years. I can't even believe it's been that long. Yeah, time goes by so quickly, doesn't it? But yeah, I've been doing that for almost 13 years, and I predominantly train unknown actors who have got blank CVs or at least very sparse acting CVs. And through method acting, which is what I coach them in, I help them up-level their acting skills to such a high standard that they have been able to get cast in Netflix dramas, television soaps, Amazon Prime films. They've landed places on some of the most reputable agents in the business. And of course, they've done stage work as well. And I'm an actress myself too. I came back to the acting industry, I've been coaching actors for the last 13 years, but I mean, I returned to the acting industry as an actress last year after having a huge break. And of course, I put into practice everything that I teach my students as well. So I landed an agent last year, got a show reel that I'm very, very happy with. Got some absolutely phenomenal reviews for the work that I did last year, landed my highest paid acting job, did stage plays, film work. Yeah, so you're in good hands, basically. And if you're returning to the podcast, I know you have to hear me give that introduction every single week, so I appreciate you listening to it, and thank you for returning as well. Okay, so today's podcast episode is a little bit different. It was requested by the students on my 10-week method acting modules, specifically the ones in Sheffield. So in the 10-week method acting modules, these are weekly classes. They're 3.5 hours long. Obviously, we work through the method to up-level our acting student skills. But I always start every single class with a bit of a story from my own life, which is usually to do with mindset. And the reason I always start our classes in this way is because I recognise that there are a lot of passionate unknown actors out there, but it is mindset that holds them back. So I always start with a story, and my aim is always to inspire. Anyway, a couple of weeks ago, one of my students, I can't remember if it was Say or Kimberly, was like, "Oh my God, I need you in my ears every single day saying this." And I was like, well, I could just do a podcast. I could just do a podcast on this. And they were like, oh, please, would you? And I was like, yeah, of course. What would you want in it? And they were like, just give us an arse kick. Just give us an arse kick in this podcast because I need to stay motivated. And before we dive into this, I want you to know that lack of motivation is normal. So many humans experience it. In fact, all humans on the planet, not even so many, like every single one of us on the planet experiences lack of motivation. But of course, if we keep giving into the lack of motivation, we never get anywhere with our acting career, do we? And I'm really passionate that my acting students are not just paying me to learn how to act, and they're not just paying me to help them develop their skills, that they're actually going to get out there and make an acting career happen. So I really do crack the whip with this, because there's nothing more fulfilling for me than seeing my acting students getting paid to act. I love it so much. But sometimes they do just need a little push. This is the podcast episode they've requested. I'm hoping you find it motivating. I'm hoping you find it inspiring. I'm hoping it gives you the little push if your motivation levels have been dipping recently. And what I would say to you is, do you know what? Just download it and listen to it every time your motivation is waning. There are 3 things that you need in place to become a successful working actor. But before I share with you what they are, you have to define success for yourself. What does success mean for you? Because it means something different for every single person on the planet. So for me, success is in 2 areas. It's, am I feeling fulfilled with what I'm doing? And am I getting the financial rewards for what I'm doing as well? So obviously with acting, yes, I feel super fulfilled when I'm doing it. Okay, then I'm successful in that sense. And I also need to get paid for it as well. So when I'm getting paid, and I don't have to be getting paid £1 million per role that I'm doing, you know, I'm an unknown actor or undiscovered actor like yourself, but I do need to be getting paid. So when I've got the payments in place and I'm doing acting, I am successful. That's how I define success for me personally. There's another strand to it for me personally as well, and it's if I can touch the heart and souls of my audience. That's when I know I'm doing a good job with my craft. It's when I know I've left something with an audience member that stays with them. I've touched their soul. A bit like Viola Davis did to me in Fences. I mean, gosh, that woman hit such levels in me that I don't know what she did to me, but she changed me in that film. And that's what I want to do with my audiences. So really, success for me has got 3 strands, but for you, it's going to be different. You don't need to copy my definition of success. You need to create your own. When you've got that, then pursuing an acting career has meaning and purpose. And that's what often I find lacks when my acting students or actors who I connect with are not really on the ball with their acting goals. And when I say not really on the ball, I mean the dipping in and out with the action that they take with it. So they'll have spurts of motivation where they'll do loads of things and then it'll disappear and they'll do nothing. And that period of doing nothing could last weeks, days, months, years, and then they're back onto it. But the problem with that is it's not consistent. And you have got to be consistent. So when you're lacking motivation, you've got to replace it with discipline. But that discipline only comes from knowing what does success mean to you and that really driving you to make this happen. So now, hopefully, that's got you thinking about what success is for you with an acting career. And you don't need to share this with anyone. I'm only sharing it with you to help trigger some ideas, help you formulate what it means for you. But you don't need to share that with anyone. This is for you and you only. And you don't need to justify it to anyone. And you don't need to tell anybody why you're pursuing acting. Because, of course, even though times are changing and, you know, we've got more of this influencer culture that goes on in the world and, you know, there's more, let's say, unconventional ways of making money and having a career and making a living, there are still going to be some people who want to put you off of your acting dreams. Obviously, it's usually with good intention. It's not that these people are nasty. It's coming from their own fears. But you have to be so certain in what success means to you and why you're doing this and why you have to do this over the typical 9-to-5 job or over a career in the bank or over a career in sales or whatever it is, or a career in care in the NHS or whatever. You know, you've got to be so certain. And I get my students to refresh themselves on this, those who are in the 10-week method acting modules training with me, every single class, because we dive into their future actor self. We are constantly reminding ourselves, because sometimes it's easy just to get stuck in a routine and forget why you're actually doing something in that routine. And I like to remind them that every single week they're showing up to class is to help them get closer to this future actor self. They're not just doing it just because it's fun. Obviously it is fun. That's why they want a career in acting. But they're doing it because they need to take this seriously in the sense that they are actually going to make this a career. So who's your future actor self? You need to define that for yourself as well. And when you've got that on your idea of success, then the two go hand in hand. And then we go to the success triangle. So as I said at the beginning of this podcast, there are 3 things that you need in place to get you to find success as an actor. Now, I can't tell you how long it's going to take you. They say it takes 10,000 hours, and this is an actual study, 10,000 hours of mastering your craft. So you have to ask yourself, firstly, have I completed 10,000 hours of learning and practice of my craft? If the answer is no, then you need to continue with that. And this fits into this success triangle. But to go back to what I was going to say around how long it's going to take you, I don't know. I don't know how long it's going to take you to find your definition of success within the acting industry. And you have to be okay with not knowing yourself as well. Again, the saying is it takes 10 years to become an overnight success. Maybe it does. Maybe it is 10 years. Maybe it's 15. Maybe it's 20. But you have to be okay not having a solid answer. You have to be okay going into an acting career, basically stepping into it with nothing more than your acting skills, your determination, your discipline, your passion for it, and faith, really. And a strategy, of course, you need that, but that's another podcast for another day. So let's go to this triangle for success then. At the top is mindset. On the second point is skill set. On the third point is action. So when we go to that second point, it takes 10,000 hours to master your craft. That can be going to classes and learning, practicing daily, getting yourself out on film sets and actively using your craft in a production or in a stage play as well, or in voiceover work, you still use a craft there. So how close have you got to the 10,000 hours? Are you practicing daily? And if you're not, why not? Ask yourself. Don't give yourself a hard time over it. Get curious about it. Be compassionate towards yourself, but ask from a place of curiosity where it's like, actually, is this serving me if I don't? So in the 10-week method acting modules, my students have to do the methods relaxation every single day. They can't miss it, because if they skip it, they will not pass the module. That means they then can't continue to train on the 10-week method acting modules. So there's something at stake for them there. They also have to fill in a relaxation journal. That's so I know that they've done it. They are accountable to me, and also it is a record for themselves of their development, of their progress with this exercise. So sometimes they'll say to me, but I can't be bothered doing it. I've really struggled this week. I've done it, but I can't be bothered. I really didn't want to do it. I would rather have done something else. And I say, well, that's okay. And it's normal to feel like that. So don't give yourself a hard time. And the fact that you got in the chair and you did it is brilliant. That's amazing. But let's figure this out, because if you keep approaching the exercise from this point of view of I can't be bothered doing it, you're not going to get the best out of the exercise anyway. So this is when we go back to mindset. What is your mindset around your acting career? Have you got a mindset where it's like, okay, I know I sometimes resist this exercise. I figured out why I resist it, and it's because I'd just rather be doing nothing. But I also know that doing nothing takes me a step backwards, not a step forwards. Whereas if I actually get in the chair and do the exercise and do it from a place of, I'm doing this because it helps me get one step towards my version of success, then when you're doing that, you can replicate that mindset, because it is simply repetition. Now, that same mindset can also be used, or that same question, what is my mindset, can be used when it comes to putting yourself out there in the industry. You can't have one over the other. You've got to have equal action given to both. Putting yourself out there, applying for castings, making yourself visible, marketing yourself, and at the same time, learning about yourself as an actor with the craft, developing your skills and practicing them. They have to be given equal measure. So if you are resisting putting yourself out there, marketing yourself, making yourself visible, what really is going on in your mindset? You need to ask yourself this. You need to inquire. You need to get curious, because without doing this work of digging, you will simply keep getting sucked into lack of motivation. So let's go a little bit deeper with this then. Mindset is the foundation of absolutely everything. It's like I tell my students, I don't want to go to the gym every single day of my life. I don't want to be running 5 miles every single day. Some days, yes, I'm up, I'm on it, I'm at it, and I love it. And some days I can't be bothered. But I have to remind myself of what success means to me with my fitness. And success to me means thinking about future Louise, 80-year-old Louise, 88-year-old Louise. An 88-year-old Louise in my mind is not in a Zimmer frame. She's not using walking sticks. She's not in a wheelchair. She's still active. She is still climbing mountains. She's got strong bones. She's got good health. So the reason I do fitness is for functionality over everything else, over aesthetics and everything else. So that is my future Louise. And this is why I said at the beginning of the podcast, it's important to know who your future actor self is, because then you will know why you are doing this, why you have to practice your skills daily, why you have to put yourself out there consistently, even when you are hearing no over and over and over and over again. So firstly, get a vision for yourself. What is your vision with your acting career? So we've defined success. We know what your future actor self is. Now, what's your vision with your acting? My vision with my acting is to change the world, is my mission actually, to change the world one audience member at a time. My vision for that is I do it through television roles, through film roles, through stage plays. And I can also do it through my acting students as well, because I can help them change themselves and transform their lives. I am so committed to that mission because it is so big to me and it means so much to me. I've emotionalized it. So you have to give yourself a mission too. And I've spoken about this in other podcast episodes. You've got to give yourself a mission and a vision too. And you've got to emotionalize it. When something's emotionalized, then we will be more likely to take action on it, even when we can't be bothered. So if I go back to the whole fitness thing with me, Alzheimer's runs in my family. I do not want that. I'm not saying I can fully prevent it from doing exercise, but I've done enough research to know that I can at least delay it. So I don't know whether I'm going to get it when I'm older or not. I've no idea. But I at least want to delay it, So that is another driver for me to keep training. That's why I go on these 5-mile runs and 8-mile runs and put myself to the gym and do challenging things in the gym. Because it's helping future Louise, the 80-year-old Louise. So find a motivation for this. I think what happens too often is we have taken on board the thought processes and beliefs of other people, which is, but an acting career is not sustainable. And what happens is other people push their beliefs onto us, not usually from a bad place. It's usually with good intention. But it's the fear of lack of money. And here's the thing, you're smart. You will keep a day job until your acting career starts replacing the income from your day job. Nobody's saying you have to not have a day job. So we take on board these beliefs and really they are feeding this lack of motivation. So create a vision. What is your vision with your acting career? And if it feels too far away from you right now, remember every daily practice of your craft, every casting that you apply for, every social media post you put out there to market yourself and make yourself visible, every director you send a letter to, every casting director you send a letter to, even if they are saying no to you and you are getting nothing back, they are still taking you one step closer towards you becoming a successful working actor. I think we need to reframe this idea of rejection as well. Because if you're not hearing no often enough, you are not putting yourself out there enough. And if you are not getting enough feedback on your acting work, that means you are not practicing enough or putting yourself in situations where you can actually learn and develop. So let's reframe rejection. Why don't we start congratulating ourselves when we hear no? Because that means I've taken a risk and I've put myself out there. It means I've overcome this lack of motivation. So when the motivation is waning and you can't be bothered, the fact that you've actually put yourself out there and got the no means you took action. So why don't you congratulate yourself on it? So we've gone through mindset, we've gone through skill set. Action is important. Action with both the craft of acting and the business of acting. The two go hand in hand. You can't have one without the other. Because if you're the type of actor who is a course junkie and goes to 10,000 different classes and you're enjoying yourself, but you're not putting yourself out there, then what's the point? And if you're the type of actor who puts yourself out there all the time, but you're not learning the craft of acting, then what's the point? The two have to go hand in hand. When you're doing both, you are working with integrity. You're coming from a place of integrity. What I always remind my students in the classes, in the 10-week modules that train with me is, of course, they're going to do things in the classes. Of course, they're going to, do their daily relaxation. Even when they can't see what the purpose of it is, even when they're getting bored of it, they're going to do it when they're in the classes with me, because although they're paying me to help them learn and develop their skills, they're also paying me to keep them accountable. And that's the great thing about classes. But then in the 3-week break that we have, I always ask them the question on the first class back in the next 10-week module after that 3-week break. Okay, so who did daily relaxation? And mostly what will happen is, I did it for 50% of the break and then I stopped. if you cannot find the motivation within yourself to keep things up, then come and train with me. Come and apply for the 10-week method acting modules, because I will make sure you are doing what you say you will do. The next set of auditions for the Sheffield one are the 26th of March. Now, it doesn't matter if you're not from Sheffield. That doesn't mean you can't come and apply an audition for a place there, because, to be honest, most of our students are not from Sheffield anyway. We've got students from, let me just think off the top of my head, Derby, Nottingham. We've had students from Middlesbrough, Liverpool, Manchester. We've got students from Huddersfield. We've even had students travel every single week up from London. You know, if you really need that accountability and you want to work with someone like me, then definitely consider applying for the April 10-week method acting modules in Sheffield. The auditions are the 26th of March. But let's get back on track. Let's get back on track with this, because motivation is the thing that's key for you becoming successful. So usually when we fall off track, it's because the pleasure of doing nothing feels better than the pain of doing something. Something that we are uncertain about. We are uncertain whether it will materialise and manifest. And that's the thing you've got to make peace with an acting career, is there is going to be some level of uncertainty. Like I said at the beginning, we don't know when an acting career is going to really take off for you. We don't know when you're going to get that big break. Yeah, we don't know when you're going to start getting regular paid acting jobs. So there is a certain level of uncertainty, but you have to make peace with that and have faith that it will happen. And it will, because there are so many actors that quit. They get so far and then they, for whatever reason, they can't continue anymore. So they quit. So you take advantage of that. I saw this amazing quote that said, you choose the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. And I just thought, wow, it really resonated deep with me. And whenever I'm procrastinating on something to do with my acting career, or I'm feeling unmotivated, I always remind myself of that. The pain of discipline or the pain of regret, you choose. And then my other favourite quote, which is, successful people hang on when everyone else has let go. And I feel like that's a great place to end this episode. I would like to remind you that we've got auditions on Sunday the 26th of March for the April 10-week method acting module, which is 3.5 hours of weekly classes for 10 weeks, specialising in method acting training. Not only do you get the weekly classes, you get a motivational boost at the beginning of every single class like this one, and you also get the Business of Acting Bootcamp, which is an online course completely free of charge, so you can also learn about the business of acting so you can start getting more of the jobs you want as well. Like I said, the two go hand in hand, learning the craft and then learning the business of acting. I would highly recommend you check out this course and apply for it, especially if you know you're lacking motivation. The link is directly underneath this podcast. And I also hope this has been motivating and inspiring for you. I hope you've taken nuggets from it that have really got you thinking. So if you have, please share it with your acting friends who you know are in a bit of a funk, and please leave us a review as well, because these reviews help me help more actors like yourself, and there is room in the industry for all of us. Okay, see you in the next episode. Bye. I have absolutely loved hanging out with you, and I really hope you enjoyed this episode of Unstoppable Actors, the essential podcast for ambitious, aspiring actors. Now, if you did, I'd really love you to subscribe so you never miss an episode, and leave a review. And if you would like weekly injections of inspiration, you'd like mini method acting challenges to keep you making progress with your dreams, come and join the most supportive acting community online by clicking the link in the notes to help you become an unstoppable actor.